All right, we are live on the video. So let's get the microphone all set up. And we're just going to start it off pretty quick, get this done because it has been a long day. Wow, my hair looks like shit. It's been a long day, but we're going to get this done because that's what we're about. Consistency. So let's bring this mic a little bit closer. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Idols to Rivals, episode 22. So we are 22 episodes in to the podcast, and we are also recording on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out already, go to my YouTube channel at Jack Hummel. That's Hummel with 2 M's and 2 L's. Go check it out. The videos are uploaded after they are live, so you can watch them when they're not live. They're on the channel. They're in a playlist called Idols to Rivals, and I believe we've done about 6 or 7 episodes now with the camera on, and so getting used to it now, getting the setup a little better. Although there is a large shadow if you're watching it on the video, and we'll still need to get another light box for it. Right now, all I have is an LED light there, and let's turn this one on, and then another LED light there to kind of soften the shadows a little bit, and I have to turn off all my lights and things like that to get the studio set up and stuff like that. I want to get a bunch of soundproofing. I don't know how long I'm going to be in this room, so I don't want to spend a bunch of money on soundproofing the walls and things like that if I'm just going to take it down and hang stuff up. That's why I've just hit these flags on the wall because they're really easy to hang up. They're really easy to set up. That's what I did in college, and that's just kind of what worked for me. I also have street signs and things like that. It's just cheap, easy, and it works. And so, like I said, episode 22. If you do not know me, my name is Jack Hummel, at Jack Hummel on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that stuff, Twitter, all that good stuff. So go follow me on that one. If you could go to the YouTube channel, it is the biggest one right now. We were trying to get to 30 subscribers. We were at 27. We had a massive jump after the last video. So I appreciate everyone for helping out. I appreciate everyone for subscribing. And I appreciate everyone for just supporting the channel and getting this thing rolling. We're growing a lot more than we were the past month or so, and so that's really exciting. And I think it's due to the fact that we are uploading more and things like that. We're getting these videos out every single week, and just getting it more out there and more visible. And YouTube has an algorithm that I've heard you need to post about 35 videos consistently to get in the algorithm. And if you don't know what an algorithm is, it's basically what gets your content shown. Like if you think on Instagram, it's bigger on YouTube because on YouTube you don't really have a feed. If you're not subscribed to someone, it doesn't pull up on your feed. You have to find that person, whether it be through a video or whether it be through recommended and things like that. So it really is a big deal on YouTube, and just trying to grow this platform and grow this community and things like that. So it is a big deal when you guys subscribe and like and comment and things like that. So I really do appreciate it. More videos are coming out soon. We are going back down to Tuscaloosa to film some videos, and hopefully we get my buddies there that have been working on videos for a long time and are a lot better at it than me. And hopefully we'll get them to get some shots for us. I know they're filming for a bar next weekend or this weekend coming up. So it should be a lot of fun. And speaking of sports and things along that nature, the Lakers just won, I think, their 17th national title, their 17th NBA championship, which is crazy. LeBron's got his 4th. And the debate keeps coming up about LeBron versus MJ. And I honestly, am not the biggest basketball fan, so I don't really know. I don't really have a dog in that fight, but I think they're both incredible. And after watching The Last Dance with Michael Jackson, Jesus Christ, with Michael Jordan, it solidified a lot of things in my head about how he is a GOAT for sure. And he has my respect, and LeBron does as well. But LeBron got his 4th ring, and I know I'm never going to live down that Michael Jackson fuck up. But we're just going to roll with the punches. That's how we do it on this podcast. But yeah, so the Lakers won. It was kind of weird with the COVID championship, not having fans there, watching them celebrate with champagne. It was like the 6 of them and their coaching staff. So that was a bit interesting. It didn't have that effect of like whenever the final buzzer goes off and people in the crowd are cheering or sad because if it's a away game, things like that. That's the things you get in basketball that you just can't do whenever you have virtual fans and things like that. And honestly, if you didn't know the Lakers were going to win, and if you're into gambling and things like that, and you didn't bet the house on the Lakers winning it all, then you kind of missed out because we all knew they were going to win. They had a couple games with the Heat. And I was rooting for the Heat for a little bit. They were kind of the underdogs, and not kind of, they were definitely the underdogs. And so I think that helped me root for them. And I think a lot of people did for that. And when they came back in game 5 and brought it to a game 6, I was really hoping they'd bring it to a game 7 and just at least make things interesting, because we all knew the Lakers were going to win. And I just like a good game. And like I said, I don't really have a dog in the fight in basketball. I don't really have a team that I root for or anything like that. So it's all just watching great athletes do crazy shit. And that's why I watch basketball. That's kind of what it's in for. But in other news, today, it actually broke about 5 hours ago, Nick Saban was positively tested for COVID. I'm not going to say he has COVID because I don't believe that he does. I think it could have been a false positive because we all know that that happens a ton. And if you don't do some research, it happens a lot. And so I was freaking out a little bit because I was worried that he wouldn't be able to coach the game on Saturday. And so if you don't know, we're playing Georgia. So it's number 2 versus number 3. So the biggest game of the season by far, if you check the rankings and things like that. So it's going to be exciting. Like I said, I'll be down in Tuscaloosa trying to get some footage. It's been a little different. I went down there a few weeks ago for the A&M game, and it is a little bit different. The capacity is weird because not having a lot of people in the city is different because, and I'm sure in most college towns, the game days are insane. There's people from out of town, there's locals, everybody's out and about, and they're all looking to just be around the game and things like that. So not having a bunch of people there, but yet it's still feeling packed because of that 25 to 50% capacity rule is different. So you can see that it's not packed, but at the same time, you got a line that is as long as it would be if it's a normal game day with a million people in the city. So it was very interesting. I tried to bring the camera around a little bit. Didn't really work out because we got into some fun. So we will get some more footage this weekend. I promise you that. I got to get some videos uploaded along with this one. I wasn't actually going to film a video with this episode of the podcast because my room is a wreck because I'm getting stuff for work. I'm getting things packed for the kickball game tomorrow. I'm getting things ready for leaving on the weekend, like I said. So I got to have everything packed. So there is some things in the background, if you couldn't see, that are not as organized as they normally are. So that, just avert your eyes if you're watching on the YouTube channel. It'll get better next time. But yeah, so the sports world has been kind of crazy. Like I said, basketball is wrapping up. Football is in full effect. And if you're not a big football fan, I don't know what's wrong with you. That's my sport of choice. I don't know shit about baseball. Like I said, I watch basketball a little bit. I'm getting into hockey more. I love hockey. I used to play when I was a lot younger. It's a great sport. It reminds me a lot of lacrosse, which I also love, except it's on the ice and the puck is on the ground rather than a ball through the air. And I've been getting a lot more into hockey. So I think all this next season, whenever it comes back around, I think the Tampa Bay Lightning won just recently, but this next season when it comes around, I'm going to get a lot more into it. And NFL is the NFL, and it's been interesting. A lot of players dropped, a lot of players doing this. The Tennessee Titans getting COVID. So sports, as the rest of the world, are going absolutely nuts. Things are going crazy. And I think all we have left right now is football and baseball season, if I'm correct. So if you're not into sports, then that's a bummer. And that's just kind of an update on sports. And I think I'm going to start doing these sections of the podcast. So we have different sections. And one thing I want to talk about is kind of, so this is all just stuff I'm into. If you're not into it, cool. If you are, even better. But so I don't know if you guys have realized recently, but so investing is something that I went to school for. I love, and whether that be stocks, whether that be real estate, whether it be whatever, the thought of investing in something and having the market create an environment where it appreciates, where you get your money back and more, is something that fascinates me and took me a long time to really understand how that could kind of work, because it's really counterintuitive. At least how I grew up, it was when you bought something, that money was gone. If you paid $50 for this bike, as soon as you bought the bike, that 50 is zeroed out. You just have a bike and nothing left. But if you buy something that's appreciates in value, you say you buy, I don't know, you buy something like a limited edition bike, and then in 10 years, that bike goes from $50 to $500. You just made your money back, and that 50 grew into 500. So that was a concept that took me a while to kind of figure out. And one of the things that have been recently, if you pay attention to anything in investing and things like that, one of the big things that's going on right now is sports cards, and more specifically Pokemon cards, which blows my mind and kind of hurts my heart, because I don't know about you, but if you look up these Pokemon card videos on YouTube or on Twitter or anything like that, there are some cards that are going for $200,000, $200,000, almost $250,000. And these are cards that I'm sure some of us had in our collections. I don't know where all mine went after one of the moves that we did growing up. I lost most of them. And so I would kill to just know if I had any cards of value. But like I said, look up these Pokemon card videos. These people make videos. Logan Paul did one recently about, he opened a $200,000 booster pack of the remember those old booster packs that were in like the Target or Walmart aisle. I remember sitting there for hours while my mom was buying groceries and things like that. And I would just hold the packs and kind of weigh them in my hands and kind of figure out which one I wanted to get, or what pack art, which one I thought was like, okay, this one's going to have the awesome cards and things like that. And trading at school, and you'd go and you'd have your box or your bag full of cards, and you'd trade with somebody that you meet, or at like a karate tournament or a swim meet or whatever it was. It's just so nostalgia for me. And so I think that that's kind of why they're coming back as this generation. I think the first cards came out, actually, I know for a fact they came out in 1999. And so they're kind of getting to that age of 99. So that's 21 years old. So it's kind of getting to that age where people that were growing up and now have money to pay for it. Now, granted, you don't have $200,000 to buy a PSA 10 Charizard, but you do have the money to go back and try to get your collection, and that kind of sparks the market. And so I think it's really, really exciting. And I think it's really cool. And I think it's also kind of mind blowing that these pieces of cardboard with some hologram foil on it could go for $200,000. And so if you haven't looked it up, look it up. That's kind of just the investment side of like the update. I wanted to go with like current events because I just think it's fascinating. And I don't know if you guys collected Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards were another big thing. Those really haven't popped. But just in the investment world, those are just kind of something crazy to think about that people are making money off of. And like I said, if I wish I could find my binder. I had binders and little tin foil, or not tin foil, but the little tin crates that used to buy, like you get like a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. It was like 50 cards and it came in this crate that had like this crazy design on it. I used to have all the cards in those. And like I said, one move just lost them all. And it's kind of disappointing, but I do think that it would be cool to kind of see. And maybe I'll poke around in the attic or in a box or something like that and see if I can find them. I just think they'd be cool. And if you do have Yu-Gi-Oh cards, if you do have Pokemon cards, I would suggest looking at them. You don't know, some of these cards, even if they're not the super rarest ones, some of these cards are going for like $2,000 to $9,000. You go poke around in your parents' attic for a little bit and you find a card that's worth $2,000. I mean, how much better is that? That's incredible. I mean, that's a bunch of money just sitting in your attic. So I would suggest, that's kind of my tip of the day. I would suggest looking around just in your attic, or if you gave them to your little brother or your cousin or something like that, I suggest looking around and seeing, who knows, maybe you have some, maybe you don't. But yeah, so those were kind of the updates. Like I said, I kind of want to section this podcast into updates like that. Like I said, I'm into sports, I'm into investing, I'm into luxury stuff. I was going to talk about the new Rolex drop that happened in the beginning of September with their new watches, but I didn't think that really fit in. But if you haven't checked it out, look up the new Rolex drop from Baselworld. It's absolutely insane. If you know anything about Rolexes, they changed a bunch of dials on the Submariner, which is my favorite watch of all time, right next to the Royal Oak Audemars Piguet. And I will own all those watches one day. And that's just something that I've been into for a while. I don't know why, but watches have always been a thing. I think it was the James Bond craze, because if you don't know, I'm a huge fan of James Bond. I've been waiting for this last movie to come out for 2 years now. It's been pushed back for, I think, 5 or 6 times. And COVID, it was supposed to come out, I think, November or October of this year. And first it was supposed to be Valentine's Day of this year, so February 14th. And before that, it was supposed to be the November before that, whenever like one of the movies came out, the other movies came out. So it's been a long journey, but I think that that's what kind of got me into it. And guys can't wear a lot of jewelry. I mean, I wear a chain, I wear different stuff, but most of the time, the big piece of like, you made it. And I don't know if it was the movies, I don't know if it was people that I was around when I was growing up, but you made it as a man whenever you had like a nice watch, whenever you're wearing a nice watch. And it's one of those things that it stuck with me still now. Obviously, to this day, I am still addicted to watches, and I can't wait to have the money to have a portfolio of watches. But it's one of those things. And let me know if you haven't, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, or if you do, leave a comment on this YouTube video, or DM me on Instagram or something like that. But if you have that same feeling of like, that was the symbol of like, okay, if you had that rich neighbor, he had like a gold watch, or he had like this crazy watch that you knew, you didn't know what it was, you didn't know how much it was, but you knew he drove a nice car, he did all this, and he'd be like, you meet him or whatever, and he'd be wearing a nice watch at like the cookout or at like the pool or things like that. It's just, I don't know why, but I have these vague memories of that being just this status symbol. So I'm really into watches, really into luxury goods of all kinds. That's just how I am. Some people hate it. Some people think that that's fucking snobby, but I really don't care. That's what I like. So that's what we're going to talk about, because it's my show. So, but that is just kind of the sections I want to break it up into. Like I said, I want to just do updates and sports update, current events update, luxury update, investment update, kind of something like that. And so just kind of an update on the whole job thing, because this is a documentation of kind of my life. And so we're into week 2 of my job. And so today was actually the first day that I was on calls. So talking to random strangers on phone, it's tough. I think this podcast kind of helps. And I actually think that my job is going to help with this podcast and help me kind of flow better. And I even feel like I'm saying less ums and stutters and things like that. So I believe that it'll make things better. And as I say that, of course, I stutter and fuck myself up, but I think it'll get a lot better with it. And I think practice is going to make perfect. And paycheck doesn't hurt. Having a real job, the paycheck is a lot better than it was. I made in a week what I made in a month at my old job. So that's very, very nice. And that'll lead to a lot more things. I'm starting this clothing company, this media company, and it's something I really want to be big. And I've made some designs for hats and things like that. And if you know me, you know what it is. I'm not going to quite drop it yet, but I'm now, with a little bit of capital, I can put it away and start investing in this business. And so I've been looking for designers, because if you've ever done anything with artists and designers and things like that, whether it be logos or designs, it's very expensive. It can be, I mean, for someone who knows what they're doing and someone who has a lot of experience in the field, they could charge you anywhere from $100 to $10,000 for a logo. I mean, obviously the higher end of that spectrum is insane. And that's kind of what corporate America does, is for their logos and things like that. But I'm using a website called Fiverr. And so I'm trying to get clothing designs done. I'm trying to get things like that done. And it's going to be a lot more difficult doing photos. And this is about to be a business rant. So if you're not into that, I appreciate you for listening, but I think it's kind of cool. And so this is just what I've learned from the experience of trying to start 2 clothing companies that failed. And so this is just kind of my experience, but it's going to be a lot more difficult to find models and things like that for the clothing. And if you don't know, that's kind of a big aspect of it, is having photos and having content of people in your gear and people using your brand and things like that. And so it's going to be a lot more difficult. I think I've kind of figured out what I'm going to do, because like if I was living in a college town like Tuscaloosa or anywhere else, or it's a lot easier to find models for that. It's way easier to be like, hey, do you want to take photos for an Instagram page in clothing that you can have and things like that? It's very easy. It's a very easy value proposition. You get photos, they get clothing, they get cool photos of themselves that they can post on their Instagram. So it's kind of a win-win. And so whenever you're not in a city like that, that's surrounded by beautiful girls or athletic guys that can take photos of your stuff, it kind of makes things difficult. But I think we're going to figure it out. And that's kind of the basis of it, is getting the designs and then taking photos of it and then rolling with it. And I've kind of done samples. I've done samples of different designs, and some have hit, some haven't. The ones that I thought were going to be really cool and kind of about it have not hit. They were the ones that got the most shit for them. But you live and you learn, and then I'll have the custom one of one whenever the brand blows up one day. But it is very interesting to see what you think is going to pop and what you think is going to be really cool and people are going to dig. And then you come to find out that it's the one thing that people didn't like, and the one that you thought was kind of simple, whether it be just a logo or things like that. The one, and that's getting too specific, the one that you thought wasn't going to do well is the one that popped, and the one that people are asking to order and things like that. And so it's really cool to experiment and kind of see that stuff. And so I've been getting some samples. I finally found a website where I can not order 50 shirts at a time, because back when I used to do this in high school, I would have to order, I think it was 50 shirts at a time, like a minimum of $500 order. And so I would work for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and get $500, order 50 shirts. They wouldn't sell any of them because I was too scared to market them. I was too scared to tell people I did them. And so I had, I believe, 2 orders of sweatshirts, long sleeves, and things like that I kept in my closet. I literally hung them up. I bought an extra one of those little roller rails that you see in clothing stores. I bought one of those, hung them up in my bedroom, and was too afraid to tell people that I had a clothing brand that I wanted to start. And so I got models, I took photos, went to downtown Houston, took some awesome photos with my girlfriend at the time, and didn't tell anybody. Just posted on a random Instagram account that had 100 followers, and obviously sold none of them. So that was a $1,000 L. And so you live and you learn. And now that it's a lot easier, especially the way it's progressed with social media stars and things like that, they've really kind of made apparel really attainable and really easy to do. And so you can get samples. So like I said, I'm doing hats. I got to get a sample of a shirt, a hoodie, because the weather's getting colder. So we're doing hoodies now, and it's going to be very exciting. I got to get a website as well. But like I said, having this capital, this is all just a long game here. It's all just a grind. Like I said, I'm filming this and recording this at 9:30 at night. This is not what I wanted to do it. I really didn't want to clean up the back half of my room, turn on the lights, and be in front of be in front of an LED light and record this, but it's what you got to do. And I told myself I'm going to be consistent. I told myself this time's going to be different, and that's what's going to happen. And I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of audiobooks. So I know people don't consider that reading, but consistency is huge. Massive action. Tony Robbins, who I'll always bring up on this podcast, talks about massive action and just doing it. I don't look the best. I mean, the light's shining in my face. The room's a wreck, but we're still doing it. We're still out here. And that's kind of what I'm trying to preach to myself is continue to grind and continue to motivate. But yeah, I'm excited about it. There's going to be a lot more business talk, a lot more of my kind of thinking on this podcast, because I think from what I've seen of the people that I look up to, they talk about kind of the grind at the beginning. They talk about, okay, well, this is what I'm doing, this one. And then it was like, okay. And then after 3 months, it popped off and I made a shit ton of money, moved out to LA, and everything worked out for me. That's not what I want it to be. I want this to be a chronicle of, okay, here are the steps. Okay, I have no models. Okay, I have 3 hats that I've designed, one of which people don't like. How do I get t-shirts? How do I get samples? How do I do this right? How do I grow the YouTube channel from 27 subscribers to 100 subscribers so I can change the URL name? It's these things that I want to talk about, these tactics, these things. And this is just the journey. Like I said, this is just the beginning steps, and this is going to be a chronological documentation of that journey. And it also pushes me to get shit done, because if I don't, then all these videos are going to be for nothing. And it's just going to be something to talk about the kid that always talked about doing great shit and never did. And so getting kind of real there, but that's what it's about. It's about chronologically ordering this line and this life that I'm trying to create for myself. And so if you're about that, please leave a 5-star review or follow on Spotify, I think is how you do it. I appreciate you guys for listening. I am Jack Hummel. That's Jack Hummel, 2 M's, 2 L's. You could follow me on or subscribe to me on YouTube or follow me on Instagram. I'd really appreciate it. And please DM me and let me know that you listen to the podcast. It really helps. It really motivates me to do more of them. And like I said, we're grinding. I know it's a late upload, and I'll probably won't even talk about this one till tomorrow morning whenever I record a video for it. But either way, thank you guys for listening. And the people that always tune in and listen, I really do appreciate it. We're going to keep this grind going. And you'll see whenever we're both at the top, whenever all of us are at the top, it's going to be shit like this that we talk about, where I'm sitting in a room with clothes everywhere, talking to a camera and a microphone, and just being real about it, talking about my struggles, talking about the things I don't have, talking about the things I'm going to achieve and things like that. And this isn't a bitching video. This isn't about, oh, boo me. This is about, here's a problem. Let's fix it. Because if you want the life, if you really want it, if it's really your dream, you're going to figure that shit out. And so that's what it's about, trying to get a little more real. I think with this podcast, it's going to take shape after a while. Do I think in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 episodes, things are going to change drastically? No, but there will be progress and there will be change for the better. And I can promise you that, because we'll always be working on it. And so appreciate you guys for listening to episode 22. I can't believe we're already 22 episodes in. We're going to continue this grind. We're on a consistency like no other. Like I said, I'm going to get a video out for you on Monday, and we're just going to get this done, and we're going to grind together. And I hope you guys are working on all your passions. Hope you guys are working on your side hustles. Hope you guys are working on the life you want, because I can't wait to see all you at the top as well, because there's abundance everywhere and there's enough for all of us. So let's get that shit. And remember, attack everything. And I hope you guys have a great week. Peace. All right, guys. So this is kind of the after show. Let's go after hours a little bit. But so we'll be in sections. And like I said, this is kind of what I wanted it to be, is a chronological. I don't know how I'm saying this phrase wrong, but like a fucking, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it's going to be a bear with me here. I'm going to get this word. It's going to be, we're not even going with that metaphor. I'm done with that metaphor. But it's going to be something, and I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting more comfortable on the microphone. I know to slow it down a little bit. I realized today when I was on the phones at work that just hammering away words is so easy, and you just kind of get in this fog and you don't remember what you said. And so this is why I'm trying to slow things down, if that makes sense. And as soon as I talk about slowing things down, I stutter it up and mess it up. But this is what it's about. This is what it's about: growing. It's about getting better. It's about hopefully one day having that Joe Rogan quality episodes. But that's what it's about. And so more and more of my personality will come out as we go. And this is, like I said, this is me just being straight up honest with you. I've never heard a podcast of people talk about this, about stuttering, about things like that. But this is just what it's about. This is about the growth. This is about the process. This is about being self-aware. And that's the more and more I try to do every day is be very, very self-aware and grow. Because I think that's the quickest way to grow, is if you can call yourself out, hey, you say like and I believe too much on your podcast. So let's get better at that. Let's focus on it. Let's talk about it and things like that. And so I hope you guys did enjoy the podcast. And I think this will be an exclusive right now on this episode of the podcast, but I think I'll start doing after hours podcast on the YouTube channel, because that'll get you guys to watch the YouTube channel. Hopefully subscribe and like and comment, because that really does help me out. Like I said, let's get to 30 subscribers. We're 3 off. I'm so excited. I'm going to post a banger video on Monday. I promise you that. I don't give a shit what anybody says about this big old camera right here. We are going to get some footage. And I got a new, let's see if you can see. So I got a new, oh, fuck. You see that? You see how that gets darker? Look at that. It's called an ND filter. See how you can see the lines? It goes back. So I got an ND filter so I can film in the daytime. And if you know anything about cameras, that's a big deal. And so we're going to get into it. And like I said, these YouTube channel videos will be longer than the podcast, so we can get a little after hours action, get a little real about it and things like that. So hope you guys appreciated that episode of the podcast. Hope you guys subscribe for real. Hope you guys share or tell your friends to subscribe, even if they don't use the YouTube channel. A subscription is a subscription. So I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Like I said, attack everything. That's what it's all about.